As the Ketamine Queen Jasveen Sangha pleads guilty in relation to Matthew Perry's death, the final of 5 individuals charged, Sky News delves into the shadowy world of Hollywood assistants, ketamine use, and the complex interplay between fame, power, and addiction. By Gemma Paplau, culture and entertainment reporter, and Katie Spencer, entertainment correspondent. Before his death on October 28, 2023, Matthew Perry had received 3 injections of ketamine in just 6 hours. "Shoot me up with a big one," he reportedly told his personal assistant before the final, fatal dose. Quoting to court documents, Kenneth Iwamasa, a live-in assistant, administered between 6 and 8 doses of the drug daily in the weeks leading up to Perry's death. The anesthetic, which can induce hallucinogenic effects, was allegedly obtained through a network of suppliers. Iwamasa had found Perry unconscious at his Pacific Palisades home on multiple occasions prior to his death. The fatal dose came from Jasveen Sangha, who has since pleaded guilty to 5 charges tied to her role in distributing ketamine to Perry. Known as the Ketamine Queen, she allegedly catered exclusively to high-profile clients, including celebrities. Her plea marks the culmination of a legal investigation that exposed a hidden underbelly of Hollywood's drug culture, where wealth and influence often blur ethical boundaries. Perry's death shocked fans who had long admired him as the witty, sarcastic Chandler Bing from Sections. Behind the humor, however, he grappled with addiction for decades, a struggle that many believed would ultimately claim his life. Jennifer Aniston, Perry's co-star, reflected on this in a recent interview. "It almost felt like we'd been mourning Matthew for a long time because his battle with that disease was a really hard one for him to fight." She added, "As hard as it was for all of us and for the fans, there's a part of me that thinks this is better. I'm glad he's out of that pain." Perry's vulnerability, coupled with his celebrity status, created a dangerous dynamic. As a star worth millions, he wielded immense power over those around him, including assistants like Iwamasa. Bonnie Lo Craman, a former celebrity assistant turned trainer and author of Be the Ultimate Assistants, explains that such roles often involve an inherent power imbalance. Assistants are tasked with fulfilling demands even when they conflict with personal ethics or safety. "People in these positions face enormous pressure," Lo Craman says. "They're in the yes business, figuring out how to solve problems for their employers. When money is no object, new rules apply, and it can be incredibly hard to say no." Iwamasa's actions, while egregious, may have been a product of this dynamic. The case echoes a troubling pattern. Celebrities with addiction issues often find themselves surrounded by yes men who enable their behavior. Garrett Brockman, an addiction treatment executive in Hollywood, notes that such environments exacerbate dependency. "Treatment is difficult when people are constantly told they can have whatever they want," he says. Addiction and fame frequently go hand in hand. Perry was not the first celebrity to die from drug-related causes. Janis Joplin, Prince, and John Belushi all succumbed to substance abuse after years of struggling with their addictions. Lo Craman highlights that the tragic end often comes when users reach a breaking point after years of self-destructive behavior. Ketamine, once primarily used as an anesthetic, has seen a surge in recreational use in recent years. In the UK, 36.9 people sought treatment for ketamine-related issues in 2023-2024, a stark increase from 426 cases a decade earlier. The drug's popularity is partly due to its dissociative effects, which can create a sense of detachment and euphoria. However, it also carries serious risks, including bladder and kidney damage, as well as cardiac complications. In January 2024, drag queen The Vivienne died at age 32 from a ketamine-induced cardiac arrest. Her family revealed that the performer had struggled with addiction for years. Perry's own history with substances was equally long and complicated. He began drinking as a teenager, later turning to painkillers like Vicodin and OxyContin, and tranquilizers such as Xanax. "I have spent upward of $7 million trying to get sober," Perry wrote in his 2022 memoir, The Things I Can't Forget. Despite his efforts, he relapsed shortly before his death. At the time of his passing, Perry had been undergoing legal ketamine infusion therapy to treat depression and anxiety, a treatment that some experts argue could have helped him if used properly. Ketamine is legally available in clinical settings for treating mood disorders and chronic pain. In California, it is sometimes used as a tool for addiction recovery. Celebrities like Chrissy Teigen, Elon Musk, and Sharon Osbourne have publicly endorsed its therapeutic benefits. Dr. Austin Harris, owner of NeuroRelief Ketamine Infusion Therapy, emphasizes that the drug can be profoundly beneficial when administered in controlled environments. "Ketamine resets neurologic patterns," he explains. "It helps patients break cycles of addiction by rebuilding neural pathways." One patient at his clinic described how ketamine therapy alleviated years of cravings and withdrawal symptoms. "I didn't have the shakes or the urges after my infusion." However, Perry's case involved illegally obtained ketamine. According to a post-mortem report, he had been clean for 19 months before resuming drug use. The lethal dose came from Sangha, who operated outside legal boundaries. Dr. Harris stresses that Perry was taken advantage of as a vulnerable individual with a long history of addiction. Sangha's guilty plea sheds light on the broader network of dealers and suppliers catering to celebrity clientele. Her arrest revealed 1.7 kg of methamphetamine, ketamine vials, ecstasy tablets, counterfeit Xanax, and other illicit substances in her home. She also faced charges for distributing drugs to Perry, who had previously been prescribed legal ketamine but sought out illegal sources. Other defendants include Eric Fleming, a contact of Perry's linked to Sangha, Dr. Mark Chavez, and Dr. Mark Chavez, and Dr. Me. Salvador Plasencia, physicians who allegedly supplied the drug. In text exchanged with Chavez, Plasencia joked about the situation. "I wonder how much this moron will pay." After Perry's death, Sangha instructed Fleming to delete all messages, highlighting her desperation to evade accountability. This case is part of a larger trend in Hollywood, where dealers and assistants often operate in the shadows. As Low Crumman notes, there are books written about Tinseltown dealers, and recent trials, such as the Sean Diddy Combs case, have exposed similar networks. Perry's death underscores a sobering reality. In a world where money and fame can override accountability, addiction often goes unchecked. Brockman argues that celebrities face unique pressures that make recovery especially difficult. If you're constantly surrounded by people who enable your behavior, whether out of loyalty or fear, you're more likely to relapse, he says. For Perry, the path to sobriety was fraught with setbacks. Despite his $7 million investment in treatment, he struggled to maintain stability. His memoir reflected a desire to be remembered for helping others rather than for friend Sish, but his death serves as a tragic reminder of the challenges faced by those battling addiction. As the legal proceedings conclude, questions remain about how such cases can be prevented. While ketamine therapy has potential benefits, its misuse highlights the risks of unregulated access. Low Crumman calls for greater awareness. We need to address the power dynamics that allow people in vulnerable positions to enable harmful behavior. In a world where wealth and influence often shield individuals from consequences, Perry's story is both a cautionary tale and a call to action. His death has sparked conversations about addiction, accountability, and the hidden costs of fame, a legacy he likely never intended, but one that will continue to resonate long after his final scene on screen.